Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into a cyber attack that wasn't just big, it was incredibly smart.
That's right. Massive scale, but also really sophisticated tactic.
Yeah, and our mission today is to unpack the mind-boggling numbers, figure out how the attackers did it, and look at the tech that stopped it.
It's quite a story.
Just to give you a sense of it.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to download like 9.35 million songs.
In less than a minute.
Exactly. Or streaming almost 10,000 HD movies all at once. That's the kind of volume we're dealing with here.
It's staggering.
Okay, so let's really break this down. Cloudflare stopped this massive DDoS attack, right? Distributed denial of service. They're calling it the biggest ever. What actually went down?
Well, it happened back in mid-May 2025. The target was a hosting provider. They haven't named them, but they were using Cloudflare's Magic Transit service for protection.
And the size?
The peak hit 7.3 terabits per second. Tbps.
7.3 terabits. How does that compare?
It smashed previous records. It was about 12% bigger than the last big one, and even copped a 6.3 TBPs attack that Brian Krebs reported on recently. So, yeah, a new benchmark.
Wow. Okay, 7.3 TBPs is the rate of attack.
Yeah.
But what about the sheer amount of junk data thrown at the target?
That's another key part. In just 45 seconds, really short bursts, they threw 37.4 terabytes TB of bad traffic.
37.4 terabytes in 45 seconds.
Exactly. Cloudflare themselves pointed out, 37 terabytes isn't that huge overall these days, maybe for storage.
Right.
But delivering it in under a minute, that's the scary part.
Why is that concentration so worrying?
It shows how modern botnets can coordinate these massive, very short spikes. It's like a flash flood. It's designed to overwhelm defenses before they can even react properly.
Okay, can you give us some more, real-world ways to picture that kind of data volume? The movies and songs help, but that 37 terabytes.
Sure, so the 7.3 TBPS rate, we said 9,350 HD movies streaming or 9.35 million songs downloading in under a minute.
Yeah.
That 37.4 terabytes in 45 seconds, think about watching HD video nonstop. That much data is almost a full year's worth of continuous HD viewing.
A year's worth in 45 seconds.
Or downloading over 12.5 million high-quality photos. You could fill countless hard drives. Cloudflare calculated it's enough content to keep someone entertained nonstop for 57 years.
That's insane. It really underlines the potential for just instant total disruption for anyone trying to use that service.
Absolutely. Immediate overload.
So beyond the raw size, you mentioned sophistication. It wasn't just a brute force flood.
No, not at all. It was clever. They used what is called a carpet bombing technique.
Carpet bombing.
Yeah, instead of hitting just one main door, they attacked thousands of potential entry points simultaneously. On average, they hit almost 22,000 different destination ports on just one IP address.
22,000 ports.
And it peaked at over 34,500 ports per second. It makes it incredibly hard for defenses to figure out what's legitimate traffic and what's attack traffic when it's coming from so many angles.
Okay, where did all this traffic come from?
It came from a massive botnet. Over 122,000 unique source IP addresses.
Wow.
These ITs were spread across more than 5,400 autonomous systems.
Right. Autonomous systems are like large network providers or organizations.
Exactly. And these span 161 countries. So a truly global network of compromised devices.
A worldwide zombie army, basically. What kind of traffic were they sending?
Almost all of it. Over 99% was what we call UDP flooding.
UDP flooding. Remind us what that is.
UDP is a way network protocols send data quickly, but without checking if it arrived safely. It's like sending postcards. You just mail them. You don't wait for confirmation.
Okay.
Attackers exploit this by sending a massive flood of these UDP packets, just overwhelming the target's ability to process anything, legitimate or not.
And the other 1%?
That was about 1.3 gigabits, still a lot, made up of various reflection and amplification attacks.
Ah, the clever ones where they trick other servers into attacking the victim.
Precisely. They use things like QOTD reflection, echo reflection, NTP reflection, common internet services, also port map floods, RIPv1 amplification, and even a Mirai UDP flood, which typically comes from hacked IoT devices.
So using innocent servers as weapons. Nasty.
Very effective, unfortunately. It amplifies the attacker's power.
Did you see any patterns in where the attacks originated geographically?
Yes, interestingly, about a quarter of the traffic came from Brazil and another quarter from Vietnam.
Brazil and Vietnam leading the charge. Why there?
Well, it strongly suggests the botnet was heavily made up of compromised Internet of Things devices, smart home gadgets, routers, cameras.
IoT devices,
Yeah.
often less secure.
Exactly, especially in emerging markets where security standards might be less stringent or patching less frequent. It highlights how vulnerable these everyday connected devices can be.
A sobering thought, yeah. Your toaster helping take down a major service.
Okay, so this leads us to the crucial part. How on earth was this monster attack stopped?
Right, the defense. The hero here was Cloudflare's Magic Transit system. Magic Transit.
This whole event really underscores how vital these advanced cloud-based security platforms are now. Attacks are just getting too big and too complex for traditional on-premise defenses alone.
So tell us about Magic Transit. What is it, and what makes it capable of handling something on this scale? 7.3 Tbps is huge.
It's essentially a cloud-based security service designed to protect entire networks, whether they're on-premise, in the cloud, or a mix, a hybrid setup.
Okay.
Its power comes from Cloudflare's massive global network infrastructure. They have points of presence in over 330 cities worldwide.
Oh, the capacity.
Their network boasts a total mitigation capacity of 388 terabits per second.
388 Tbps compared to the 7.3 attack.
Yeah, it's about 53 times larger than this record-breaking attack. It gives them immense headroom.
So they can just absorb it.
Pretty much. The key is their architecture. They absorb and filter the attack traffic right at the network edge, close to where the attack originates. They don't need to pull all that dirty traffic back to some central scrubbing center like older systems often did.
That makes sense. Faster reaction. Does this edge architecture have any downsides or blind spots?
Well, like any defense, the biggest theoretical challenge is always a completely new type of attack, a zero-day nobody's seen. But because Magic Transit is distributed and constantly learning, it's very resilient against known threats and variations. Its strength is its distributed nature and sheer scale.
Okay, walk us through the process. An attack like this starts hitting. What does Magic Transit actually do?
It works in roughly 3 stages. First, connect. It uses BGP, the Border Gateway Protocol.
The Internet's traffic routing system?
Right. It announces routes that effectively tell the Internet, send traffic for this customer to us, Cloudflare, instead. It intercepts the traffic at the Cloudflare data center closest to the source of the traffic, or the source of the attack.
So it grabs the traffic before it hits the customer's front door.
Exactly. Second stage, protect. Once Cloudflare has the traffic, its systems inspect it, identify the malicious patterns like that UDP flood or the reflection attacks, and filter it out. This happens incredibly quickly, within seconds.
And the legitimate traffic.
That brings us to stage 3, accelerate. The clean, legitimate traffic is then sent on to the customer's actual infrastructure. Cloudflare uses its optimized global network to do this, often through secure connections like GRE tunnels, IPsec tunnels, or even private network links.
So it's not just blocking the bad stuff, it's making sure the good stuff gets through efficiently.
Precisely. Blocking is only half the battle. You need to maintain performance for actual users. These secure tunnels, GRE and IPsec, just create safe, encrypted pathways for that clean traffic over the regular internet.
It sounds very thorough. You mentioned layers earlier.
Yes, it provides multi-layered protection. It operates at the network level, layer 3, which deals with basic IP routing. It also protects at layer 4, the transport level, things like TCP and UDP connections.
Okay.
And it can even protect at layer 7, the application level, where things like websites and APIs operate. So it defends against a wide spectrum of attacks targeting different parts of the network stack.
Which makes it valuable for who, specifically?
Any organization where uptime is absolutely critical. Think financial institutions, big software as a service providers, major e-commerce sites, online gaming platforms. For them, even a few minutes of downtime can mean huge financial losses and reputational damage.
Right. Makes sense. So we've really dug into quite a story today. A record-breaking attack met by a really sophisticated, large-scale defense.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it? Both of how sophisticated threats have become, but also the level of innovation happening in cybersecurity defense.
Definitely. And what does this event and the success of Magic Transit tell us about where cybersecurity is heading?
Well, it highlights this constant arms race. As attackers get better, leverage global resources, find new vulnerabilities, especially with all these IoT devices popping up,
Yeah, billions of them.
our defenses have to evolve just as quickly. They need to be global, scalable, cloud native, and adaptable. It's a continuous process.
So wrapping up, what's the takeaway for you listening? As our lives get more and more connected, as everything from our watches to our cars comes online, How do you think this ongoing battle between attackers and defenders will shape the internet we rely on every day?
It's definitely something to think about. The reliability, the security, the very availability of the services we take for granted. It all depends on winning this invisible war.
Something to mull over. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.